Hey guys, welcome to Let's Talk Ants Season 1, Episode 2, Part 1. So in this episode we have two parts, and today we're going to talk about transitioning into film music. It came to me in a question a few months ago, actually December 2020, from a David Edmonds, and hopefully he'll be watching this video sometime because this video is dedicated to his question, in which I've created a vlog that would be a general thing. So his thing is about, going into film, TV, and being original. So we all have some type of originality to our style of music. We can try to copy other people as much as we can, but your signature sound will always be in it, whether you like it or not. So I put together a few hit chords that everybody uses to write songs. If I put the piano on, it would be. Right now I'm using Logic for the fundamental instruments here. I'm using Logic stock sounds, the sounds that came with Logic, just to keep things easy and fast. Okay, so we're gonna hear this basic arrangement. Here we go. Okay, so we heard this basic arrangement, and it can be interpreted as country music, rock, contemporary rock. It can be, anything basic, So how can we take our regular musical ideas and make it into an orchestral thing, into film things, and make it fit, right? So in the orchestra, we have a few sections which come with brass, horns, woodwinds, strings, choir. It can be percussion. Did I say percussion? Percussion, choir. It could be a piano, or it can be other things. If I miss anything, forgive me. I'm trying to get through the video. So in these sections, they're not always used. You're not always using woodwinds, horns, and brass. Sometimes it can be strings. So or anything. There's also something called hybrid orchestral scores, where you're mixing guitars, you're mixing regular drum set, you're mixing modular synth sounds into orchestral things. And when you do those things, you have to be aware of many low-end instruments. And right now, what I want to do is, I want to focus on this arrangement. So we have a bass. So a rule of thumb is never mix a bassy instruments with bassy orchestral instruments, because it's going to make your bottom end very meshy, muddy, and your arrangement is going to your arrangement could be musically beautiful, but sound-wise, it's just going to be filled with muddiness and no EQ. Nothing's going to help it. It's not going to help. You're going to go back to your session and eliminate one or two bass frequency sounds, and pick what you want to keep. So instead of doing that, you want to be aware while you're arranging. Be aware of your bottom end. And so what I want to do is, we heard the bass, which is doing this, and I want to keep the same. So I would like to keep. I would like to keep the same groove going. The same groove, but in the string section. So what would I use? So in the string sections, you have your violins, viola, cello, and basses. And so I want to put that to play in the basses. So how are we going to do that is by taking the bass phrasing from the electric bass. For now, this is not, we're not going to get into arranging and what we would, all that stuff. But I want to give you guys an idea to take your regular music idea and put it into an orchestration. So over here we have our string lows. So let me see what's going on here. Make sure. I have so many things going on here. Okay, so we have our low strings. Now, the many reasons why you can't have it like too many bass frequencies happening is because of the room sound, the reverb that the room gives you. And a lot of these string libraries have room sound. Like right now, this is completely overhaul. You can hear the room. Even if I slowly take it away, you still have some room sound, but not as much as this. Okay, so basically you have all of the bottom end flowing in the bottom, and right now I'm using a sub, so I can hear actually below 65 hertz, so I can hear the bottom end, which is good when I'm doing orchestrations because I can feel automatically that something's going to be muddy, and I'll just eliminate something, that's low. So basically, in MIDI, we're going to copy it and we're going to put it in the shorts. And I'm going to explain the difference between shorts and long for those that are, transitioning. And, it's always good to know some terms in regards to orchestration. And now what I want to do is, I also want to change the color. Okay. So we have that. Let's see how this sounds. Whatever the bass guitar was doing, now the low strings are going to do. Okay. So now you have the low strings playing what the bass guitar was doing, right? All right, awesome. And I could actually, I'm going to put it with no reverb, but there is still reverb. You can recontrol that. Okay. So now, what I want to do is I want to take a look at the piano, and so the piano is basically doing piano things. So what I'm gonna do is I want to copy it, and I want to put it in the regular strings. So what I do that when it comes to terms. When it comes down to terms, when it comes to long, we have legatos. So legatos are basically playing one note after the other, right? And then you have sustained longs, right? So the sustained longs, basically you can play more than one note at the same time doing chord voicings, right? And so understanding these things will actually help you in your orchestration. So this is right now what the piano was doing, but before we do that, I don't want the strings to be playing piano. So what I want to do is, I think I did it already. Took out some of the little eighth notes, passing notes there. I think I took them out. Hold on. Okay. So let's take a look at this real quick. Okay, so we heard the low strings, shorts. Again, so the shorts, they can be considered piccatos or staccatos, short notes, dun dun dun. And again, with the room sound, you're always gonna have that little effect, but they're shorts, and longs are pretty much like you were hearing before. So, so we're gonna go into the low strings now. You can look, the piano really represents everything. You see what I'm saying? You have your 88 keys right here. So basically high strings, it can be violas, cellos, and bass. You can look at it that way. So right now, these strings that you're hearing right now, they're basically playing the high registers in the piano. But we need some low notes now. So we're gonna go to the low notes and play the same chords, but now I'm gonna play a little, like a few notes below. Here we go. Now, it sounds, you know, blah, blah. So with string voicings, I'm going to take this out because I really don't like it. The string voicings, what you have going on are basically the same thing. So what we want to do is we want to add some beauty to these chords, keeping the same fundamental chords, but adding some beauty to it. So check out what I'm going to do. Okay, so I added some. So basically, you know, a C minor 9 to a C minor. It can be an E flat 9. It can be an A flat 6. It can be a B flat sus 2 to a B flat. So if you like these voicings, I highly recommend listening to Bach, because Bach is the representation of string arrangements and basically orchestration, pretty much, because it just has so much love in it. So for example, when I play these low notes, that you can apply to your orchestration. And so this subject can be a different video. So if you're interested in learning how to voice your strings, leave a comment below and I'll be sure to hook it up for you. Okay, so now that we played the high register of the piano, we're gonna play the low register and add some oomph to it. Okay, so we have that. So basically the strings high and low represent what the piano was doing. So let's say, for example, if I put the piano with the high and low strings, how would it sound? So it's a basic representation of how you can transform your piano chords into orchestration and strings. Okay, so that's what you would do there. And so now we have pretty much the strings covered. If I wanted to add, I need to see what kind of strings are these shorts here. So these are high strings playing shorts. So we have nothing. We're not going to do nothing with that because we're already doing high strings, doing longs. Okay. Let's see. So we pretty much covered piano, bass. Let's see what the guitar is doing, right? Okay. So we'll come here. We'll mute the band and we'll just so that's still in the lower register. So what I would actually do is perhaps get woodwinds in there. Open this up real quick and get myself some woodwinds on the high, playing that. Okay, so we have the high ones. Okay, basically that. And we open it up over here. I think that's what the guitar was doing, right? And if it's not, then we could do this. We could just copy the guitar, put it in the woodwind section right there. Okay, yeah, so it's really, yeah, so yeah, we're not going to do that. So basically, we're going to we want to transform what the guitar was doing into woodwinds. So you can actually try to apply whatever you did on the guitar to any other instrument, but in this case, I'm choosing woodwinds. Right? See how that sounds? So if we was to solo both of these, I'll mute it. Okay, gotcha. All right, so I am going back to my woodwinds, making sure the band is quiet. We got this. Okay. Okay, so you have that there. So something when you start on measure 1, something gets cut off. So what I want to do is make sure everybody's good. Okay. Let me just take it a little bit back there. Just a tad bit. Let me see. Okay, so we have that, right? And so we can actually have what the shorts of the low strings were doing and apply that so that the low brass shorts can also do that at the same time. So let's see if this is possible. So you're adding a little fullness to it, and it's not going to sound too muddy. Let me rephrase that. It's not going to sound muddy because they're both doing the same thing. So if you want to add some oomph to this, you can also, the high woodwinds, you can, let's label this high. Sorry, I don't know what I just did right now. I think I just did that. Hold on, I did this. Okay, so we have the high, and now we're going to put this as the low. Take the high notes in which we're going to paste it down here, and really take everything down. Or yeah, right there. So make sure. So make sure you low note. Yeah, okay. So now you have the high woodwinds, the low woodwinds playing together as one. The woodwinds are not going to really interfere with the lower register instruments because the woodwinds are not that low. So we can add some. So you see, you can do that knowing that your guitar was doing that, and now you flipped it into the woodwinds. Now, if you know the voicings already, you can add that and see how that sounds. So that dynamic is too much. So what I did was I added the melody line. And then I went into some sustains. I'm a huge fan of trombones, French horns, low registered brass and horns. I just love the deep tones. Okay, so basically now, whatever the drum was doing, we're gonna do a percussion rhythm. And I'm a huge fan of percussion, so those that know me personally know that I can go with percussion. So now we're thinking percussion, and it could really go basic, or it could go complicated. So I imitated some influence from the regular drum set, and I went into the percussion and I gave it some low hits to really represent the bottom end of the drum set. Now when we come into the high parts of the percussion, I want to do something that's going to really be relevant to the high parts of the regular drum set. We have the hi-hats, maybe anything, snare drum. So we're looking. So I can actually take out the room sound in this one. Let me see if I can. Yeah, basically we're stuck with that. All right. And of course, you can get more intense with adding more percussion into it. But I just wanted to give you guys a preview of how you can go, from that to this. So you know, this film score, we could call it film score, could really represent a character. It could be, you know, a character of anything. It can be in a setting where there's an open meadow and it's positive energy, you know, or this can go from that into really intense. The woodwinds will always add some type of sweetness to it, really depending on how your melody goes. But I really wanted to show you guys how you can take a regular musical arrangement and turn it overnight into a film score, and understanding some of the articulations, you know, in strings and horns and whatnot. As you can see, your dynamics the higher the dynamics go, the more aggressive your strings or brass, woodwinds will sound, and even percussion. And so we have expressions. So we have all these articulations that can be explained better in a separate video. But in this part 1, episode 2, I really wanted to show you guys how to take a regular arrangement and turn it into a film orchestration, or you know, on how to set it up for picture. So again, and then, you know, with these, you know, so it's a good comparison. It's good to compare. So in short, you know, always remember that legatos are one note at a time. So if you want to do, you know, a melody line in a string, or even in a string patch with 20 or 60 strings, there's an option for legatos where you do one note at a time, and sustains would be when you're playing more than one note at a time, creating voicings. And so another tip that I want to give you is when it comes to playing strings, you never want to go. You know, you don't want to play like a piano. You really want to own it. You want to go. Okay, so guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the first part of episode 2, season 1 of Let's Talk Ant. I look forward to next week getting into part 2. So now, if you guys have any questions, put your comments below, and I'll be more than happy to feature it in a separate episode. So for now, peace in the Middle East. I'll see you guys next week.